Hey guys, my name is Aubrey and today I'm back with another video. Back in the day on BookTube, there used to be something called Top 5 Wednesday. At first it was run by Ginger Reads Laney, and eventually she passed it on to Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes. And as far as I know, I don't think anyone is doing this anymore. If you know of anyone who is still doing it, please let me know. I found an archive on Goodreads of all of the old prompts and questions and stuff, and I thought it might be really fun to revisit some of those occasionally on my channel. And today I'm doing a prompt from back in 2018. It was posted on October 17th, and it is favorite monsters, so your top 5 favorite monsters. And since it is spooky season, I just thought that this might be a fun one to do. Yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. The first monsters that I want to talk about are the Chimera in the book series A Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. It is so hard for me to talk about this series without giving away spoilers, but I'll try to give you kind of maybe a vague synopsis in case you haven't read it. It's about an art student named Karou who was raised by these 4 chimera, and she steals teeth for them, like animal teeth, human teeth, any kind of teeth, for the chimera to do their own kind of magic with. And one day these mysterious charred handprints start showing up on doors all over the world. It's kind of urban fantasy meets high fantasy, a war between angels and demons, but not necessarily the kinds of angels and demons that we're used to seeing. And it's just a really great trilogy. I highly recommend it. But the 4 chimera who raise Karou and kind of are her parental figures, especially Brimstone and Issa, are just so wonderful, and I was really attached to them reading those books. I enjoy their characters a lot. Yep, they are just some of my favorite monsters. So the second monster that I want to talk about is the monster from A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This book was so beautiful. The story, the artwork, the message about grief and pain was just so good, so well done. I absolutely love that book. And I don't want to spoil too much because it is a short book, and if you haven't read it, you really should, but I absolutely love the monster in this book. He shows up in Connor's life when his mother has fallen ill with cancer, and the monster kind of shows up and tells Connor stories and lessons. And again, I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil it. I think everyone should read that book. I bawled my eyes out at the end. It's such a beautiful story. But yeah, I couldn't make a top 5 list of monsters without talking about that monster. So the next monsters that I want to talk about are the monsters from Bird Box by Josh Malerman. And this is a fairly popular book, but if you don't know, it's sort of a post-apocalyptic world where these things showed up, and if you look at them, you will go mad and kill yourself. We're following Mallory and her 2 children in one timeline after sort of the world has fallen apart. And then we're also following Mallory before / as the world is falling apart. And yeah, the monsters in this book, whatever they are super scary because we don't know what they are. Because if you see one, you go mad and you kill yourself, and you may take other people with you in your madness. So if you want any hope of surviving, you have to blindfold yourself and learn to navigate the world with a blindfold on. And again, it's not just these monsters that are out there, it's people who may have looked upon these monsters and gone crazy that you have to fear. And I absolutely loved this book. I was on the edge of my seat reading this, and I thought that the sort of fear of the unknown was done really, really well and was really, really scary. So yeah, if you are looking for a sort of page-turning thrillery horror book to read this season, I would highly recommend Bird Box. Next, I want to talk about Uprooted by Naomi Novak. This is about a village and a kingdom that lives surrounded by an evil forest, and there is a wizard named the Dragon who sort of keeps the evils of the wood at bay. And every 10 years, I think. Every 10 years, he chooses a girl from the village to come back and stay with him at his castle. And our main character is, of course, chosen and has to go live with the dragon. And the monster that I want to talk about in this book specifically is the wood itself. So this is a super scary wood. If you wander into the forest, you can become corrupted, which basically means that you come back kind of possessed and evil, and you might do really terrible things like kill your family or burn down your house or any other number of awful things. But there are also these like mantis tree walker things that will just flat out like eat you and kill you if you wander too far into the wood. Yeah, I just found this whole sort of setting to be really terrifying. It was one of my favorite aspects of this book in general because it is really scary. So the last monsters that I want to talk about are the homunculi from the Full Metal Alchemist series. I've only read up to volume 6 in recent years. I may have read more when I was a teenager because I remember borrowing them from friends of mine, but I don't really remember how far I got. And I did watch the original anime, so not Brotherhood, but like the first one that kind of deviates from the manga. So this story is about two brothers who are kind of alchemist prodigies from a very young age. In this world, alchemy is ruled by the law of equivalent exchange. You can't take something and turn it into more or less of what it is, if that makes any sense. Their mother passes away, and these two boys decide to commit basically the ultimate natural sin, which is trying to bring her back to life. You know, the human body is made up of however much water and however much salt, other components, and the brothers gather all of these items up and they attempt to resurrect their mother from the dead. And in doing so, the youngest brother completely loses his body, and in order to save the youngest brother's soul, the older brother sacrifices his arm and his leg to be able to attach his brother's soul to a suit of armor. So that's who this is back here. And this is just an incredible series. I absolutely need to continue on. Like I said, I've only read volumes 1 through 6, but it is so incredible. And the monsters that I want to talk about are the homunculi, which I think I may have said already. But basically, these are like artificially made people, which is supposed to be impossible. And they are all named after the 7 deadly sins. And these creatures, I feel like they balance perfectly on the edge of being both incredibly interesting and likable, almost, while also being very disturbing and terrifying. So, for example, the one that always freaks me out the most is gluttony, because he will just eat you. He will just eat people. Has an incredible appetite, and he's just really gross and really scary. But so far we've also met, actually they're right on the back right here. So we have Lust, who is also really just cunning and ruthless, and then we have Envy up here, who can kind of shapeshift. Yeah, they're really fun and they're really scary at the same time, and there's kind of this interesting mystery surrounding them as to, you know, where they came from and what they want, you know, kind of what their overall end goal is, because, you know, most of the time they are antagonists to our main characters, but sometimes they will, you know, help them out if it suits them and their goals, and they are just really a lot of fun. So that was my list of top 5 favorite monsters. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment down below some of your favorite monsters. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!